So the last part ambayo tunasoma analog electronics. Kama last time nilielezea kwenye last lesson, digital electronics ni pale ambapo unakuwa na transfer signal in terms of 0 or 1, hamna intermediates, sawa. Lakini unavyoongelea analog ikiwa ni ile kwenye transistor ya kawaida, inakuwa in terms of variations, okay, inakuwa in terms of variations. Lakini hii ni analog, sawa, hii ni analog. Lakini unavyoongelea digital electronics in terms of 1 0 1 0 1 0, so analog electronics hii ndo mfano wa analog electronics. So is the one which deals with circuit which possesses DC or AC signals. A single transistor can be used as an amplifier. An amplifier is a device used to increase strength of signals input terminal, kama hivyo, inakuwa hivyo na hivyo. So amplifier with many transistors form a complex circuit called operational amplifiers. Kwa hii ni circuit ambayo ni integrated circuit ambayo ina consist so many amplifiers. So OPAMPS, an OPAMP is a differential amplifier in which output signals, OPAMPS kifupi cha operational amplifiers. So is a differential amplifier in which output signal is direct proportional to the input signal. So differential amplifier in which the output signal is direct proportional to the input signals. So these have a very high input resistance, huwa zina offer very high input resistance na zinatoa very low output resistance ili zifanye amplification sana, kwamba ina high input resistance ili zilimit the value of input current inayoingia, lakini kuna low output resistance, so inatoka current kubwa zaidi amplified, okay. So inakuwa namna hiyo, kwa inakuwa na low voltage gain around 10 power 5. So differential amplifiers, unaposema differential amplifier, it means the amplifier ambayo ina accept 2 or more input signals. So mode of construction, description of op-amp ni very common question, wanataka ueleze sana. Ni hiki hapa anachotaka uonyeshe, sawa, kwamba op-amp inakuwa na terminals 5, okay. Kuna terminal mbili za supply, hii VS positive na VS negative. Terminal moja positive ambayo inaitwa non-inverting, terminal moja negative inaitwa inverting, inakuwa na output. Hizi mbili inverting na non-inverting zinakuwa ni input. So the difference between the two input voltage V1 minus V2 inakuwa ndo input. So ina terminals ngapi? 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Cha muhimu ni kufahamu hilo. So V1 is the voltage applied to an inverting, V2 to inverting, the one negative inverting. VD is the difference in voltages. Note basic operation amplifier has 5 terminals, so it has 5 terminals kama nilivyosema na nikuelezea hapo. So we have what we call feedback kwenye op-amp. Feedback in the op-amp is a process of feeding small amount of signal from output to the input. Kwa unavyokuwa na op-amp kama hii hapa, output inavyotoka unakuwa unarudisha some of it to the input, okay. So there are 2 types of feedback. There is negative feedback na positive feedback. Negative feedback is the type of feedback in which the input signal is out of phase, okay. So una input signal na output signal, na feedback unarudisha, then finally unakuja ukuta output signal is out of phase, inverse proportional to the input terminal, I mean the signal. So automatically inakuwa ni negative feedback. So the importance is that it has minimum distortion, okay, minimum distortion, then the gain is stable. So importance of negative feedback, wanapenda sana kuuliza it has minimum distortion, it means inakuwa haijaharibiwa sana, sawa. Minimum distortion. It has gain which is stable, gain inakuwa stable, ina gain ambayo ni independent of the input, sawa. Inakuwa na gain ambayo ni independent of the input. Again the input frequency gain is predictable, hence it is easy to control. So you can predict and you can control jinsi unavyotaka kwa sababu ya negative feedback. While for positive feedback is the opposite. So it's the feedback in which output signals are in phase with the input. So umefanya feedback lakini input na output signals zinakuwa still in phase. So we have various uses of op-amps. Op-amp as a voltage follower, summing up amplifier, hizi tutaziona mbele. Lakini cha muhimu sana ni properties za op-amps. Sawa? It has very high input resistance kama nilivyosema, but for this case tutaita impedance. Kama unakumbuka kwenye current, such devices that with resistance tunaita impedance, the total resistance offered by the whole circuit. So in a very high input resistance au impedance, very high input impedance, lakini in a very low output impedance kama nilivyosema, the aim is to amplify, na in a very high open loop gain, kwa sababu tutakuja kuona the meaning of open loop na kuna closed loop, tutakuja kuona baadaye, but just for now know that it has very high open loop gain, it has very high input impedance and very low output impedance.